Well, thank you, folks, for joining us. It is Tuesday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and it is December 2025, and we are really close to Christmas, just a little bit over a week away.
Amen. My favorite time of the year.
And we have a chance to talk to Ryan Wilkins. And Ryan Wilkins and I had a chance to hear his music. Is it decades ago? Does that sound about right?
Dude, that was 2000. I was there 2003 until 2008.
Yeah.
So we're talking 20 plus years ago.
And we're going to catch up with Ryan. We're going to pick his brain because Tuesday at 7, we're a community of artists, creatives, makers, maybe folks that just appreciate the arts. And we're going to pick your brain about maybe the writing experience, right?
Okay.
Maybe the process, and talk about things like, what if you had to do over again? Like, what might you do differently? Because we have a lot of musicians that tune in as well, and they're probably going to really benefit from your sage wisdom for decades of time in the music space. But thank you, Ryan Wilkins, for joining us. Thank you guys for joining us as well. What we want to do is right off the bat, before we press the gas and go, we want to encourage folks to share, because in the very bottom left-hand side of your screen, there's an arrow. When you press that arrow, we know about it. But when you share the video, your name will be put into drawing for a signed CD, which we're gonna give a CD away. CDs away next week. Ryan's gonna sign them. He's gonna send them up here. We'll put some Tuesday at 7 swag in, and we'll send it off to the winner. But when you press that arrow in the bottom of that Facebook screen, Facebook will prompt you to what to do next. Send it to your friends group. You can send it to a musicians group or an artist group. You could send it to a particular friend. And frankly, if in the comments you just tag somebody who you think will benefit from this, we'll put your name in the drawing there too. But man, it's funny because your music, Ryan, moves people.
Oh, thanks.
I so want to explore that because I don't think that a lot of musicians capture that, and we want to explore that. But tell us a little bit, right? Because you've been playing music for quite some time. Give us just a little bit of a background, like where you started. Were you tinkering around as a kid? Did you pick up a guitar as an adult? Like, what did that look like?
Yeah, well, you got both of those right. So when I was a very small child, my mom, who I give full credit for kind of inspiring me to move in the direction of music, noticed that I sang along to all the radio songs that were going in the car when I was in the back of the station wagon or whatever in the 80s. I was a huge pop music fan, so much so that when I was in first grade, we moved down to Columbus from where I was born in northern Michigan, and I was biting my nails. I was real nervous in first grade. And my mom said, if you stop biting your fingernails, I will buy you the Michael Jackson Thriller LP. And I was like, oh, yeah. So the first record that I ever got was an incentive for not biting my fingernails, and it was Michael Jackson's Thriller. I still have that record, by the way. So I was singing all the time, and I grew up in a Catholic family. And my mom signed me up to join the children's choir, and I'm incredibly thankful for that. And this time of year in particular, I recall just how much joy I was able to experience as a child, being a part of all of these the sort of pageantry and the joy of the Christmas season, and how music is such an important part of that. So I grew up singing. I was a unique person. I was a jock and also a choir nerd. So my football friends would be like, "Why are you friends with these choir people?" My choir friends would be like, "Why are you friends with these football people?" And I just loved both. So I was the captain of my football team and also the chair of the symphonic choir at my high school. It's a very unique childhood, but I'm actually really thankful for that now, looking back, because it's helped me to be a much more well-rounded adult, to know how to deal with all kinds of different people and different interests, and realize that everybody's got their thing. And for me, I was very fortunate that music just came very naturally to me. Although I will say, I didn't really play any instrument until I was in college. So my freshman year of college, I went to Wittenberg University, which is in Springfield. I went there to play football, and I got a really bad concussion in practice that knocked me out for a couple of weeks. And after that season, I decided I don't think I want to play organized sports anymore. So I went home and I asked my parents if they would get me a guitar for Christmas, and they did. And so I took that guitar back with me to my dorm room, and this was in like the crucible of that sort of like 18-year-old angst of like, what am I going to do? What do I want to be? Trying to figure out, exploring all kinds of different things. But I had so much time, and I vividly remember it was the first thing I ever downloaded from the internet. I went to our computer lab. This was in 1995, so this is real early. And I searched up on, it must have been AOL Online or something. I don't know what it was, but chord charts for a guitar. And I printed that out from the computer lab, took that back to my dorm room, and just started hacking away. Now, ironically, I was playing, I'm sure it was terrible. It's literally, I just started. So I'm playing my guitar, trying to figure out how to do this thing. And I've always been a singer. So the singing part was very easy for me. So I was really learning by playing some church songs that I had known, because it was kind of like the easiest thing to play, honestly. So I happened to be playing a very simple church song. I remember what it was. And a guy walked down the hallway. It was the person who was in charge of Campus Crusade for Christ on campus. And he heard me playing this song. And he peeked his head in and he said, "Hey, you play guitar?" I was like, no, I literally just got this. I don't know how to do it. I'm trying to teach myself. He's like, "Great. We need someone to play music at Crusade tonight. So you'll do it, right?" I was like, "No, I'm not prepared at all for that." And he's like, "Nah, you'll do great." So literally, I show up at campus, have my brand new guitar, don't really know how to play, but immediately was put in a situation where I was leading worship. And it really was a God thing. In hindsight, it was obvious to me, looking back on it, that God had me on a path to do that kind of work. So from that point forward, I really immediately was more interested in writing music. It was a fun, creative journey. I really enjoyed learning how to play guitar, and then using the opportunity to write music to help me to learn things and explore and challenge myself, and all that stuff that you love to do when you're a young person. I'm sure now if I tried to teach myself how to play at 49 years old, it would be a much different situation. But I had the gift of time and the curiosity. I'm a very curious person by nature. So I started writing music almost immediately. When after that first year of college, I decided to transfer to Ohio State and started a band there. And we started playing around town and doing all of that. And that was a lot of fun. But my parents wanted me to get a degree and get a job and all that kind of stuff. So when I graduated from Ohio State, I really thought that my career was going to be in advertising. and I went and worked in an ad agency, and I hated it. It was a miserable experience. The exact opposite of what I wanted to do. And so after that first, I was there for about a year. I decided I'm going to go in a completely different direction. So I took a job as a youth minister at a church, and part of that responsibility was to lead the music for that church. And how I ended up in Cleveland was just a wild experience. The person who started 707, Dan, he got a copy of a tape. This is how old we are. A cassette tape of some of my music, because my now ex-wife was looking at a job up there, and we were trying to figure out what I would do if we went up there. And he got a hold of this tape, and he grabbed me in the hallway of this church where I met you, and he said, "Hey, I think you're supposed to be the person to play music for this thing that we're starting." And we thought so too. So we ended up moving up to Cleveland in 2003 to start this amazing thing called 707, where, I mean, at one point we had over 1,500 young adults that were attending that every weekend. It was pretty wild. And that really is what helped springboard my music career. If it wouldn't have been for 707, I really would have probably just been, playing some of my songs in my room and for a few friends. But that opportunity presented me with a platform that I could not have created for myself, and started traveling all over the country and playing for crowds of people and getting my albums reviewed in CCM magazine and stuff that I would have never dreamed would happen. It was a really, really cool experience. And I'm glad I got to meet you too. And that somehow my music has made an impact on you.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because on occasion, right, and I'm an avid YouTube watcher, like a lot of folks in my season of life, right, and occasionally your stuff gets fed to me, and I love it because I'm like, I haven't heard Ryan in a while, and it gets fed, to my algorithm, and certainly the music from Parts was music that that we heard, portions of that several times per month, right? And that was ingrained in. And there's something I think about original music, right? Because that was something that, like, if you wanted to hear, Sanctify Me or, Wailing into Dancing, right? Those were things that you had to come to 707. And we hope that Ryan wasn't sick and his voice was under him, and that he might, he might bring that to the folks there. But I know we have a lot of folks, right, that might be musicians who will say, and it's of interest to me too. And tell me about the writing process, right? Because, I mean, you had a guitar, you had the voice, you picked up the guitar, and you found yourself almost immediately picking up and going to your own music. And there's a reason for that. And I'm interested in what you would say was a reason that you gravitated towards your own music, the first day or the first few days that you even owned a guitar.
Well, I wish I could remember exactly why, but I can tell you that the process of writing, to me, really is more like catching something than it is like creating something. My experience, and a lot of my friends who are songwriters too, was that, and is that it's almost as if something is moving through you. And the moments where I have felt most connected spiritually in my life have been when there's just a stream of conscious of a song that it almost just sort of like creates itself. Now, I do think that you have to have a certain level of competency to be able to play an instrument and know how melodies are composed, and composition is another thing altogether. But when it comes to the process of writing, really, I think what it has more to do with is trying to understand what's going on in your own heart, in your own spirit, and allowing that to be communicated through these vibrations of things that we call music. If you really think about what music is, it's fascinating. It's a miracle that if you take a chord and put it under high tension, and then you change the length of that string thing and you make it vibrate, that changes what, the vibration of it. We call those notes, but really that's just a way to try to explain like what in the world is actually happening here. And even like right now, our voices, the way that we use them, the way that sound travels is fascinating to me.
For sure.
And the fact that we can take all of that and then put it together and join with other people and create something that is moving and inspirational and beautiful and or creates angst in us or whatever it is, whatever emotion it elicits. It's such a gift. It's a gift to be able to experience the process of writing. It's a gift to then share that with other people and have them receive it. I mean, the fact that you just talked about songs that I wrote 20 years ago, that's amazing. That's an amazing thing that somehow me sitting alone in my bedroom writing Wailing into Dancing about that really is I took Psalm 30 and also a reflection of some challenges that were going on with the birth of our first son, and that song came out. And I wrote that song in less than 30 minutes, and I'm so incredibly thankful that it made an impact on you.
I read Rick Rubin's book here recently. That you may be familiar with it, right? It's the creative act of being, and in that book, he challenges the readers, to think in different ways, perhaps. And one of the things that a lot of the artists in our community experience. Now, some of them may have different words. They may say, I picked up the pen and the muse hit me and out came a poem, right? Or some might say, I was able to plug into the source.
Yeah.
And it feels like there's a download, right? A download. So was that the experience you had when you were, writing a song? You almost felt like a scribe, or?
Yeah. I think that all of those things are the way that people try to explain something that's really not explainable. Mm-hmm. The process of what is it that inspires us, and then how does that move through us and come out of us in song is, I think, a mystery. Mm-hmm. And I like that it's a mystery because I find that beautiful. I think there's beauty in the mystery. But yeah, I definitely, it feels like something is moving through you, that it's channeling you. And you can call that God, or you can call that a muse, or you can call that whatever, the source. It doesn't matter what you call it. I think all of us as humans innately are experiencing that same thing. Now, I would say that that's a reflection of the Creator, but people can use whatever words they want to try to explain that. And honestly, even my words, I'm just trying to put words to something too that is a mystery, and it's very difficult to explain. And I think anyone who says that they figured it out is lying. There's true. You can't. You could. I mean, I've written literally hundreds of songs in my life, and I can give absolutely zero credit to myself for that. because it doesn't feel like I'm the one that created it. It feels like it was created through me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I love that the very first verb in the Bible is the word create, right? Mm-hmm. God created, the heavens and the earth, right? And so there's something mysterious about creation and artists and makers and music and writers. Describe what and I would imagine with you there's several discographies or albums or whatever we like to call them. There's several out there, and I believe that you've written hundreds of songs. Is there a practice that occurs? Do you sometimes drive down the road and go, I gotta record something on my phone, or do you close the door and sit down and don't come out till a song is written? Like, how does that work for you, or is there no rules?
No, well, it usually comes in waves for me.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, I'll go months or even years at this point in my life with writing nothing. And then all of a sudden there's sort of a flurry of creativity that hits me, and I'll have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 songs that come out of a span of maybe a few weeks, and I'm not exactly sure why that inspiration hits, and why it doesn't at other times. I will say that I have never been in a situation where I felt like I had to force it. I'm very thankful for that, because I think that's what people call writer's block. Because what you're trying to do is create that inspiration in a void of inspiration. So if you're fortunate enough to have the space to allow it to come naturally, I think that is the best case scenario. But yeah, sometimes I'll be driving down the road and a melody will hit me, and just like what you said, I'll pull out my iPhone and I'll open up voice memos and I'll sing that melody into my phone, and then inevitably a few weeks later I'll be like, oh, I don't remember what that was, and then all of a sudden I'll start going through all of the different voice memos that I've done in the last couple of years, and some of them are rubbish and others are great. And some of them turn into songs, and most of them don't ever turn into anything. It's just sort of like ideas that you're scribbling on a pad of paper. But the times where I have had, I think, the most success in songwriting, typically what I do is I'll have inspiration of some sort of chord structure with, I'm typically writing on a guitar or sometimes on piano. And then a melody just sort of comes to mind as I'm playing through that chord progression. And as I'm playing that, I just sort of start doodling vocally. So the way I would describe that is I just sort of start like plugging in words that feel right. They don't really have any meaning attributed to them, but it's sort of like when a Polaroid picture starts slowly developing and you see it coming to light. That's kind of what's happening, I think, in that process of songwriting, where some of the words just sort of like you start sensing what they are, and then you start going in that direction and going deeper. And then as you kind of keep hashing through that process, then you start writing down some verses. So then usually what I'll do is I'll get to a point where I'm like, okay, I think I understand the structure of this song. I think I understand where it's going melodically. And then I'll pause, and then I'll just write. I'm a writer. I've done that professionally for a long time now. I love writing. So I'll just write, and it feels like you're writing a poem or prose or whatever. And then that's where I kind of create the structure of the song. And then I take that back and then just keep kind of bouncing back and forth between the what I would call the musical part of the song and the word part of the song. Yeah, it's a fun process.
Yeah, we we interviewed Teresa Rose Riley quite some time ago. She's a vocalist, very talented musician. And one of the things she said to me, which was striking in our interview, is I'm a fine artist, right? I'm visual, and so everything hits me in images, and then I translate those images into words or to paintings or to something, right? And I asked her how her thought process was, and she said that she thinks like her brain works in sounds. She's like, everything starts with sounds, and then I move sounds to words to, structure. And is that? It sounds a little bit like you might be describing something similar. Am I on the right path, or does your brain work in a different way?
I've never really thought about that. That's a good question. I would say that what I experience is more feeling. So I'm a very emotional person, and what I'm trying to do, I think, when I'm writing a song is convey whatever that emotion is that is pouring out of me, and the more authentic that I can be in that expression of emotion, the more likely I think it is that it's something that people will connect with. To me, the most important thing for anyone, so anyone who's watching, if you're a creator, the most important thing that you can do as a creator is be your authentic self. What this world needs more than anything is the most you that you can be. And I think you asked at the beginning, like, is there anything that you would do differently? I think at the beginning of my music career, I like a lot of people, there were artists and that I really looked up to, and I aspired to be like, and I think I mimicked them. I wish I could go back and give myself the advice that just invest in what moves you and what makes you, because that's the thing that I think most people connect with. And so, like, if you go to a concert or you go to a worship service or whatever, it doesn't matter what it is, when you feel most moved, I truly believe what you're experiencing is the outpouring from whoever it is that's giving that to you. So the most profound performances are the ones where the people are the most exposed. Part of the reason that I think that so many extremely talented artists are slightly tormented is because in order for you to be able to express yourself that clearly, you really do have to, like, crack open the shell that so many of us live behind. But if you can figure out a way to open that up, to open your chest up and just let yourself be exposed and let people see and feel it, like the raw, authentic version of you, that's the thing that moves people. Not talent. It's not talent. It's not competence. It's not skill. You can hear someone play something extremely skilled and be wholeheartedly unmoved by it, or you can hear someone play something that otherwise it feels like they're hacking the thing, but it is so incredibly real and it moves you. Like, what is that? So I think what it is somehow. So, like, for you with fine art, what medium do you use? Do you paint?
Well, I paint. I do portraits. A little bit of everything, really.
So when you're there and you're pouring yourself out on the canvas, that is the thing that will transcend the medium.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, with music, the thing that transcends is when I allow myself to just be, and then let people feel that, as opposed to, like, I think a lot of musicians make the mistake of, like, I want to get a response from people, so I'm going to create something and I'm hoping that they're going to give me something in return. That's the biggest mistake that you can make as an artist, because that's manipulation. So if what you're trying to do is to draw something out of someone else, you're looking in the wrong direction. Really, what you should be doing is thinking about how you can pour out onto someone else, and then let them do with it what they want. That's the hardest thing about being an artist, because you're literally pouring out your soul, and you're like, okay, here it is, world, and I hope that you like it. And if you don't, then that's okay too, because this is just who I am.
Yeah, yeah. The relationship with a musician and their audience is way different than the relationship with a fine artist and an audience, right? Because it is a give and take. It is maybe a symbiotic, right? If with a performer, right, especially a worship leader or perhaps a busker. I don't know if that's the right word, right? Somebody who's like, listen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the guitar and I'm going to play. And it almost is the audience is less. I'm playing my music and the audience will gather if it resonates with them. And I think if we are, and the reason why your music is moving to me and others is because it's raw, it's authentic, right? And we can feel that emotion even when it's not live, even when it's video or it's you fed to my algorithm and video, I can hear that. And I think that, if somebody were to say, okay, Roger, you've heard Ryan play for years. How would you describe his music? I might say authentic. Authentic.
Well, then, wow, that's the best compliment you could give me. I think that I have learned to be more authentic the older I get, and I think part of that is maturity. We all get a little bit more comfortable in our own skin the older we get. We don't care as much about what other people think. Although anyone who says they don't care what other people think is lying. Everyone cares somewhat.
Right.
You just care a little bit less. So I would like to think that I'm more authentically myself, but the older you get, you do get sort of further and further away from that, the crucible of angst. I don't know how else to say it, but when you're young, you've got that fire, and I think that's why people are typically drawn to younger artists in music, because they have that. And then the older you get, you become more, I think, introspective. You become more reflective. The kind of music that I write now is much less of a kind of like a flashbang, and more of a contemplation. And I think there's a place for that too. But that's who I am right now. Yeah. If I tried to write music that was like a flashbang, that wouldn't come off as anything real at all. That would be me posing. Mm-hmm. So, I haven't released any music since 2016. 16 was the last time that I released an album. I've written a lot of music since then, and I had intention to release more music, but I just haven't had that inspiration, that impetus to do it. And I don't know. We'll see what comes, but I'm excited to create some new stuff, and hopefully it resonates with folks too.
Yeah, what I'm going to do is take just a quick break here, because for those folks that are watching, the very bottom left-hand side of your Facebook screen, there's an arrow. When you press that arrow, you have the opportunity to share, and we encourage you to do so. That's kind of your gift to the artists in the community, and we appreciate that. When you share, we know it, and next week we're going to draw a winner, and that winner is going to get a few signed CDs by Ryan. And I know what you're saying. You're saying CDs, come on, I can just go on Spotify and look them up. But what you can't get on Spotify, you cannot get an autograph. And what you can't get on Spotify is you can't get the songs arranged with specific intention, because you place that songs in a certain order on those albums, on those discs. And so when you share this, we're going to give you an opportunity to win some signed CDs by Ryan. Ryan, you had shared that your mother encouraged you to sing. You're a father now, right? And maybe that's, maybe that's that changing role is, as a father, you're now in that encourager role that your mom was, many years ago. Tell me what advice you might give to your kids or to folks that are behind us in that musical or that creative journey.
Well, I'm very fortunate that my oldest child, who's a son, his name's Dylan, he had a knack for music almost immediately. And because I was on the road when he was born, he kind of grew up literally behind the scenes. Music has been a part of his life since he was in the womb. Mm. And he has taught himself. I've never even taught him anything, but he's taught himself how to play drums, guitar, bass, keys. He's an excellent singer. He's a songwriter. His musical journey has been very different than mine was, but he now, he's almost 21. He's now working on staff at a church here in Central Ohio called Life Point, which is a big church. And it's really cool to see. I think he's way more talented than I ever have been. And he's just a kind of like a wonderkind. He's able to do anything he wants to do musically, and he's excelled at that, and I'm very proud of him. And the thing that I keep encouraging him with is to don't be afraid to go after your dreams. And the best guide is your gut or the spirit or whatever you want to call that, whatever's moving inside of you. I own my own marketing agency now. That's what I do professionally. And I tell my clients all the time that your best guide is your gut. It is. It just is. It's never let you down. You might get let down by not listening to your gut, but somehow we know, like in our inner being, we know what's right. And I think I would encourage anyone who's a creative to trust that intuition, trust what I would call is the inspiration from God, to follow that path that you don't know where you're going, but man, if you kind of move some of the weeds by the side and cut through a couple trees that are hanging over and get through that path, there is some really cool stuff that you get to experience if you're willing to take that risk. My encouragement to anyone is take the risk. Life is short. If there's one thing that I wish I could do, it's to take more of those risks. And so my encouragement to my kids is do it. Run after your dreams. And don't be afraid. Don't let anyone else's naysaying or even your own inner voice naysaying, don't let any of that keep you from pursuing the thing that most excites you in life.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Is sage advice. If folks if folks want to add you to their playlist, well, where's a good way for them to find you? Because I know it's Wilkins, Wilkins with an I. Yep. Where's a good place to find you? And we're going to tag those, your sites, and but where's a good place to find your music and you?
You can find it on Spotify or Apple Music or Amazon Music. It's on all of the music channels, streaming services. I have CDs. I've got boxes of CDs that, it's like we all were using CDs until we weren't, and I don't really remember the moment where I stopped using a CD. But if someone wants a CD, I've got a bunch of them. So you could always just reach out to me directly. And I'm on Facebook and Instagram, Ryan Wilkins. On Instagram, I'm Ryan Craig Wilkins. But I love connecting with people. I've now that I'm older, I've got some folks who have started covering some of my songs and recording them, and that's my favorite thing. I love hearing other people's renditions of songs that I've written. And so if anybody out there ever hears a song and you want to create your own version of it, I'm always happy to have that happen too.
The albums and where I recently just grabbed was ryanwilkins.com, and from there it kind of took me to several of those other areas where I could go ahead and see the videos. You have some videos out there, really well done, by the way. To hear the music, right? To grab the Spotify list. But what we again want to do is, for those folks that joined us the last couple of weeks and shared those videos, we had kind of a creative news week, and then we were out at the Live Nativity, which was run by the Valley View Village Church, and we're giving away an original piece of artwork by Andy Denny. So, Ryan, if you were here, I'd have you draw this name. But Beth, you want to go ahead and draw the winner for the Andy Denny giveaway? Thank you guys for sharing Ryan's video. Thank you for sharing the video.
Luann Bullbecker.
Oh, Lou. Thank you for what a great artist she is. What a gallerist. She is one who shares often. But thank you, Lou. But Ryan, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. Anytime, we're going to be slightly keeping an eye on you and posting the stuff into the Tuesday at 7 website. If anybody wants to join, Tuesday 7, TUES, the @7. It's just a creative community. There's a few thousand people that gather, maybe 300 or 400 that are active frequently. But you've inspired me through the years. You've inspired our community. Thank you for joining us this week and for your journey.
Thank you. I'm honored that you would even have me on. So I sincerely appreciate it, and keep doing the great work, man. I love this. This is fantastic.
Appreciate it. We'll catch up. We'll stay in touch, Ryan. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.